given the task with freeing his battle brothers from the curse of their chapter by lopping off their heads. Astorath the Grim, Redeemer of the Lost, is never a pleasant sight to friend or foe, which is a shame because he looks really, really cool. Welcome to this painting tutorial. Today I'll show you a quick and easy guide to get Astorath painted and ready for the battlefield. The paints and brushes we've used are on screen now. As with every model, remember there is no wrong way to paint it, and these are only our suggestions. If you want to know more about the paints and techniques used in this video, check out our Citadel Colour Painting Essentials videos in the description. I'm going to build the model in sub-assemblies to make painting as easy as possible. I've undercoated the main body and wings with Chaos Black and the head with Grey Seer. We'll start by painting the body fully with Rhinox Hide with a medium base brush. As this is the first paint over the undercoat, keep it nice and thin and build up the layers with a few coats. Just let each one dry before applying another. The rich brown undercoat will be a perfect base to help bring out the red, gold and bone colours that feature across most of the model. Now, with Wordbearer's Red, we'll dry brush over the armour. I'm using a small dry brush to get into all the nooks and crannies. When dry brushing, use a small amount of paint on your brush and really work it into the bristles on each side. Then, with your paper towel, remove most of the paint. Astorath has this really cool sinewy armour, so try to go against the lines instead of following them to get the best effect. On smooth areas like the jump pack, you'll need to dry brush a little bit more heavily to get a solid colour. The red is looking really good already with only a few steps, but dry brushing can be quite messy, so we'll need to tidy it up. We're going to highlight the armour straight away with Corn Red. Using a medium layer brush, create a really thin point by rolling and pulling your brush backwards on the palette. Doing this now means we can focus on the armour highlight and not have to worry about accidentally painting over other details. With a small brush, get your Rhinox Hide and repaint any areas like the armour trim ready for the next stages. As the armour covers most of the model, Astorath is really taking shape already. Let's add some more colours. With the red armour looking good, we'll start to build over the trim that surrounds it with Brass Scorpion. Take your time and move the model around to make this as easy as possible. Don't forget to paint any teardrop detailing like the one on Astorath's forehead or the angel wings on the jump pack. After this stage is complete and we've changed our water, fill in any teardrop gems and the Purity Seal wax with Corn Red. Xandri Dust is going to be the base of all the bone coloured armour and parchments. I've used a medium base and a medium layer brush to make this process as quick and easy as possible, but always use what you are comfortable with. Remember to keep this paint thinned with water or Lamia medium as it is quite thick and we don't want to lose any of the detail on the model. With a few coats, the Xandri Dust is completed, ready for a coat of shade paint later. Now we'll add a dry brush to the wings with Administratum Grey. Try to go across each side of the wing with long broad strokes against the feathers, not following them down. Going across all of them in one go keeps the paint uniform and stops you from getting any paint between the gaps of each feather. We're trying to hit the edges. We're going to add some black back into the centre of the feathers at a later stage, so don't be afraid to be quite heavy with this dry brush. Find the right amount for you. When you are happy with the wings, do a light dry brush over the helmet on the base too. Now with our dry brushing done, we'll use Administratum Grey to paint the stone statue on the base. If you have a specific basing scheme for your army, this is a great time to add your own personal flair and tie it into the model. With Cantor Blue, we'll add a nice dark blue colour for the blade of the Executioner's axe. We'll add a small highlight to it in the next stage, but if you'd like to take the axe even further, you can add a lightning effect to it. And fortunately, we have a video on how to do just that. There's a small amount of metallic silver to paint on the model, mainly on the axe and the jump pack. We'll use Iron Hand Steel to paint these as it complements the dark armour really well. However, Lead Belcher or Iron Warriors will also work if you have them instead. You can add a really small highlight to the power axe at this stage. It gives the impression of the weapon being really sharp. If you make this too chunky, you can always use Cantor Blue to thin the highlights down. With most of the main colours painted in, we'll use Targor Raid Shade over the majority of the model. We'll focus on the body and the head to add some definition to the recesses. The only bits you don't want to paint are the axe blade, the feathery wings and the helmet on the base. As we will be using a lot of paint, make sure you start at the top and work your way down. Gravity will pull the paint towards the bottom of the model. Applying an all-over shade is one of my favourite techniques as it really brings everything together and is loads of fun to do. With the Targor Raid Shade dry, we'll use Black Legion to paint Astorath's hair, eye sockets and the ribbing between the armour. This paint has amazing coverage, so you won't need a lot. We'll then neaten up the feathers on the wings. Get a small amount of paint on your brush and roll it backwards to get the right amount. Carefully blocking the core of each feather and surrounding wing to make the details shine. You can also do the same thing with the helmet on the base. Run the brush down the centre of the helmet and any recesses to give it more depth. Now use brass scorpion and corn red to paint the gem and lenses on the helmet. Astorath is looking great. You can base him now and he's ready for the tabletop. Or you can add these extra steps in and really push him to the next level. Our first extra highlight is going to be over the armour trim. We'll use Retributor armour to add a sharp golden highlight and give a bright contrast against the dark red armour. To make the armour pop even more, paint a highlight of Mephiston red on the sharpest edges of the armour and in the centre of each panel of tendons. Make sure you're leaving a lot of the original colours though. You'll only need a small highlight to really give a depth of colour to the armour. Our final highlight will be with Pallid Witch Flesh. On the face, focus on the tip of the nose, the cheekbones, chin and mouth. Then, on Astorath's body, focus on the edges of the bone armour, so the eye sockets, the nose socket and the spine ridges. With these final highlights, we have a character ready to lead your Death Company warriors into glory or, well, death, I suppose. We've used Astrogranite on the base and a hint of Blood for the Blood God to add the finishing touches. For more painting videos, head over to our YouTube channel. If you need more help, you can always head to one of our Warhammer stores where our friendly staff will be more than happy to help. Thank you for watching and have fun painting. Goodbye!